Hello and welcome to JomezPro's coverage of the 2023 LWS Open at Idlewild, DGPT Elite Series number 13 of 15, and look what we have here. Big Sexy Backdrop has made its debut. You're watching JomezPro, as I said, with Nate Sexton and Jeremy Koling.
We have a fantastic course here, very well-liked course here at Idlewild. Very difficult track, but it's some interesting things actually about the difficulty, because even though we say it is a difficult course, there's not one single hole on this course that's in the top 100 of scoring difficulty from 2022 season. But this is the #1 ranked course in Kentucky. And it's, such an interesting contrast as far as woods go with this course and Northwoods Black the week before. A place that is actually every single hole, like 18 holes are on the top 100 difficulty. This one's a little bit different.
It's still hard though. I mean, hole 18 is really hard. I'm pretty shocked by that statistic, to be honest. And I think it's just that every hole can bite you. That's why it kind of feels that it's certainly birdieable, but lots of chances to make mistakes.
As we take a look at the Disc Golf Pro Tour point standing, we have the obvious suspects right there at the top, the usual suspects, I should say. Calvin Heimberg, Isaac Robinson with a ridiculous lead right now over Gannon Burr, 0.2 over Gannon. I know he gave his buddy some fun on Instagram about that, but
I only see one ridiculous lead on that list, and it belongs to Calvin Heimberg. Oh
insane.
My goodness. Just
insane.
300 points, looking to go 300 points clear of the field, I think.
Wysocki sitting in 6th place in the Disc Golf Pro Tour points. It's really all about qualifying, and getting in the top 8 is such a big deal for these players as they're jockeying for position. Obviously, we have a stacked feature group here in round 1 on a perfect scoring condition day. The wind is down, the temperature is mild, not very much out there. The course is dry, and that's actually one of the things that can make this place so difficult is when it's muddy. People are tracking that mud on the tee pads. It's really slick, but on a dry day like this, expect the scores to be low.
Yeah, I agree. Although I thought it was hot out there. I'm not sure. Mild temperature, I don't know about that.
Okay, it's a little warm.
But this first hole, a nice little introduction. One of the easiest on the course, in my opinion.
A little bit downhill, 638, very reachable off the tee. For a player like Ricky Wysocki and a few others.
If this can get hyzering, this is huge. Oh, man. Get
underneath. It's long. He has gone long of the pin. Oh, okay.
I told you it was easy. So that's an eagle look.
Not that easy.
That's an eagle look to start your tournament off. Can't really do it much better.
Wow. Going long.
Yeah, this ought to look a little more like a mortal professional disc golfer throwing this hole. As Chris Clemons, I expect to play a little more controlled shot out here and just hyzer it down. Not really an opportunity for a left-hander to go huge.
You know what? I disagree in a way. Chris Clemons with his forehand, I am surprised that he is not giving this an attack, because he actually has the power to get there, I think.
No, to get there?
Downhill, as far downhill as this is, I think he can get himself inside C2.
My name is Isaac Robinson, and I am the 2022 Idlewild champion. Yeah, so last year in May of 2022, I had just graduated from Toccoa Falls College, and I went on the road, and I think Idlewild was in July last year, so that short time period of being fully committed to the tour, I got my first win. My putting was definitely one of the highlights that I'm trying to carry forward into this year. Just the confidence on the putting green, hitting those tight gaps in the woods, and just lacing fairways and making the big putts. It was just a feeling I'll never forget. Just the crowd, my brother and his wife, and my friends around me. It was just such a cool experience, and it's something I look forward to again. I've gotten several practice rounds in this week. Today was my 3rd or 4th, and feeling really good. There's not a hole out here that I don't feel comfortable on. I'm throwing a lot of mid-ranges and putters, which is something I really enjoy. But there's a couple changes out here. Hole 12 is a little bit shorter and a little bit more to the left. It's a really tricky green to access. Gonna be a challenging birdie for sure. And then hole 18, they cleared out a bunch of the undergrowth. So, you get off the fairway a little bit. It's gonna be a little easier to scramble. I'd say the course probably plays half a stroke to a whole stroke easier, especially with that undergrowth clean out on hole 18. Yeah, so last week at Ledgestone, Ezra had kind of I would say almost his breakout performance. He was on lead card for 2 of the rounds and was in contention for a while out at Ledgestone. So he has a history of playing really well out here as well at Idlewild. So I expect him to be chasing that wind down and being in contention all week. Yeah, as far back as I can remember, Ezra and I have always just pushed each other back and forth on the disc golf course. He's a big reason of where I am today, and I'm sure he would say the same thing. Yeah, there's always been just that competitive drive between both of us, and it's, you know, it hasn't gone away at all on the Pro Tour out here. It's about being there for, you know, the highs and the lows, and so he's been there for both of my wins, and, you know, that's just an amazing feeling for me, and I'm going to be there when he gets his, and, you know, I'll be just as happy for him. This week, you know, it's kind of I've been looking forward to it all year. Nobody's won Idlewild twice, let alone back-to-back, and so I would love to be the first one to do that, and so this whole year I've been, you know, thinking about it. It's been in the back of my mind, and I'm just so excited to finally be here and try to defend my title.
Nice drift to the right.
This is a pretty common looking drive here. This is nice and long past that tree. That tree's about 500 feet away, and just getting past that, this is just like a jump putt from there.
Yeah, super simple birdie.
I don't even know if I haven't ranged the hole. I'm not sure if I buy 638.
Yeah, I think that makes sense, that it's could potentially be a little bit less. See if Cole can show us about 600 of them things.
Ooh, this needs to keep turning, and it's not going to. It needs some help. Otherwise, Cole will be out of bounds first drive of the tournament, and indeed he will.
Kind of a surprising miss there for him with all the power in the world. The right side certainly a little more forgiving than the left. Perhaps just slipped out of his hand or something.
Chris Clemons, pretty standard hyzer approach there. Good pace.
Perfect. There's a pretty good slope behind the basket. It can be a bit nervy.
Oh, I'm aware of that.
Like trying to decide how aggressive to go at it.
Wow, Cole. Very nice controlled long jump putt approach. Yeah, and Isaac's drive getting just past 500 feet, that's not a 138-foot jump putt. That's inside C3.
Yeah, I agree. And you're saying you have ranged that tree at 500?
Just about, yeah.
Okay. And Rick for the eagle, of course he did.
Right side up and in.
Fantastic.
Yeah, when I threw your dart off the tee pad. I was just short of that tree, and it was 470.
How many deuces?
Well, Ricky joined an elite list of 3 players. Got Ezra Aderhold, no surprise. Anthony Umbrella, no surprise. Inside bullseye for AB.
Nice.
But this is the second easiest hole, 3.3 average. It feels like a must get. And you know that there's a lot of hard birdies to get out there in the course. Hole 1 is not one of those holes. Cole's going to feel a little bit like he left something out there on the table, obviously. Already 2 back of Ricky.
On to hole 2, par 4, 601 feet downhill with this one tree right here on the left that kind of messes up that perfect line. You're going to want to throw power forehand if you have it, perhaps backhand roller. Work something to the right a little bit if possible. Try to get up towards that walking path, and then it's a touchy approach. Speed control really important because that slope is pretty severe, and there's a couple guardian trees up there by the basket.
And Ricky lining up the backhand roller, a play that I've seen more and more lately on this hole.
It makes sense to navigate that low ceiling, try to climb the hill. This really got blown out on him a little bit.
Yeah,
surprisingly, not much right movement at all. Just sort of skirts that OB line, but plenty of distance.
Clemons choosing the wide gap. And I think he was fortunate to get past the first couple, but he eventually hits one of the trees and he stays on the edge. It'll be a tricky place to attack the green from back there.
And that's like right on the OB line, isn't it? Like he's a bit fortunate.
You got a little bit of wiggle room down there, but yeah, you don't want to be much farther left from there. Isaac going the inside backhand turnover. That looks really good. Cole also lining up the roller as he did in our practice round. Go watch that. Cole's a great guest to have this week.
Super easy throw there. Didn't need to put much on it, and he's found a great landing zone.
I think that's more the shape that Ricky was looking for. I think he might have been going to something a little bit faster, more prone to having that blowout like you're talking about.
It did look wide rim to me.
Yeah, and no chance to go for the pin at all. So Chris having to lay up short, and that'll probably be in the 230 to 250 range. Got to get this thing flipping up flat. Isaac, oh, that's so good. That is so unbelievably perfect with the angle and the speed control to match the hillside.
Yeah, beautiful shot.
Cole, I mean, you just saw someone do it perfectly. You just got to get this thing down. And he's going to find another OB early.
And I mean, you could see how Cole's shot looked great. That illustrates perfectly how close of a thing it is.
3 feet higher.
Yeah, whether you're going down that slope or you're absolutely parked.
Ricky's just going to force this one right and not really play with the hyzer at the tail end of the. I like that shot. Trust your putter. Put yourself up at the edge of the circle.
Yeah, I think that's a great strategy. Definitely want to miss on that right side.
Yep, that's the miss. If you feel a little bit nervous or tentative with your shot, if you're not trying to park it, the miss is out here where Chris is throwing his as well. I think Ricky would like to be maybe 10 feet closer, but yeah, that's pretty good.
What a start.
And that's a good save once again for Cole. And good scramble for Chris. Out of position, didn't force anything there, just took what the course gave him. You have to be patient on this course. Isaac gonna have a tap-in birdie. That was a perfect play, both off the tee and on the approach. You think Ricky's going to be leading this tournament through 2 holes?
I feel good about his chances.
Yeah, well, he's not necessarily in first place alone. Him and AB both going 3 down through 2.
Looking here at hole 3, a par 4 that swings hard to the right, sort of a similar feeling drive as hole 2. You'd just like to get that downhill forehand or roller out through the gap. Try to work it right if you can, but more important than right, I think, is a little bit of distance to open up your angle to attack what is a really well-protected green. You've got the big grass clumps in front of it and some low-ceiling branches.
Ricky really trusting the backhand roller.
That's a lot of air. But again, this thing flips quick.
I love it. Down there on those tree line, that's okay. It's going to be a standstill forehand and hyzer out of the gates there for Rick, but I think he's going to like that position. He's going to be 300 feet away.
Whatever he's rolling there is really flipping fast on the ground.
This right here is even better, perhaps, because it's not going all the way down that hill. Isaac's going to be high up there. He's going to have a turnover backhand in.
Needs to miss that tree, and he does.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, short.
If anything, short, right? I mean, he might not have the angle perfect.
It looked like he threw it pretty hard. I don't know. The disc just looked like it just deployed the parachute somewhere out there.
Too far right, potentially. Does it miss the trees? Yes, it does, and this should be fine.
Got a lot of space out there to work with around the right. If you get past those first couple of trees, you can go as far right as you'd like.
So this is going to be a big hyzer attempt. Goes with low line. I'm not sure this can work all the way back.
No, it's going to get him a putt, though, and that's just outside C1.
Solid.
Yeah, it's great effort from back there.
It's going to be kind of a weird obstructed putt potentially, but and you were right about this little, what he's got left, kind of glued to the tree. Rick going with that kneeling forehand, needs this to stable up quick.
It's working. It's
similar to Chris, I think.
You think about how big Ricky's drive was and how short Chris's was, and they're in the same spot.
Yeah.
If Eisen could continue the hot start, another great drive, and Pretty good looking approach. Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody ever makes me feel sillier for throwing forehands than this guy. It's just like, what's even the point? Obvious forehand situations, he doesn't care. Throws it perfect anyway.
Cole has a similar effect, the way that he's smoothed these long turnovers, controlled. What is I don't even understand what the forehand is right now. Because Ricky's forehand's incredible. He's gone roller on the last 2 holes.
Yeah. Just low on the birdie look. Gonna have to settle for perfect through 3, I guess. Nice
what a birdie.
putt.
Yeah, great pickup.
Yeah, out of position slightly, but let's see that one more time. Does have to dodge a couple leaves.
Ooh, and just hanging in the low right side. Perfectly played for Cole.
Yeah, made that hole look very easy, as did Isaac. Those rollers, just perfect position.
And Ricky will take the only par for the card. And let's see, he did AB birdie hole 3 and go to 4 through 3. The anticipation's killing me. No, just a ton of people at 3 under.
Everybody back to earth. Back on hole 4, par 4, 722. I think one of the more difficult holes out here, as you need a nice placement drive with length to set you up in a position where you can rationalize attacking that gap and doing the second water carry to set you up for that birdie look. If you throw a great drive, it becomes pretty simple, but it does have good length. It has a little bit of OB. It does have rough on the right. See what these guys go with. I think dead straight backhand is what Isaac's probably dialing up.
Yeah, you want to push that right side and just start hyzering off of it. That is going to be a pretty good spot. I think more distance would be obviously better, but the way that he hits gaps, I mean,
yeah.
I think he's set up just fine.
Yeah, I expected to see him flip it up just a touch more than he did.
Yeah. Chris turning the anhyzer over, getting good distance with that carry. Let's see what he is left with in just a moment. And this flipping up flat, this is great. It's just a little bit more distance, I think, but I expected that to get still another 30, 40 feet of carry.
It kind of looked like a mid-range.
It's not a bad play.
Not getting the flip here.
Yeah, this is heading pretty far left. In fact, there is out of bounds there. And Ricky, I think, is going to find it.
And he's not going to have much of a gap from there, I think. So I think bogey alarm starting to sound. Yeah, no problem, dude. No problem.
Oh, my goodness.
What a gap hitter.
Wow. Most likely going to take Isaac to 4 under through 4.
Beautiful shot. Stressful shot. I mean, it's water right on the other side. You clip anything.
And I think that angle right there, as Chris hits a gap perfectly illustrates why distance is so important here, because these gaps are just barely, like, it's hard to make a choice. Cole, unable to hit the gap. The closer you get, the much bigger those gaps just seem to get. And
absolutely.
Ricky's not going to have really much of anything. Let's see how aggressive he chooses to get here.
I'm guessing hyper aggressive.
Wow.
He kind of pulled it off. I mean, that's going to be C2, but a nice shot. Give himself an opportunity anyway.
Yeah, there's not much at all over there.
And Cole kicked down here, but doesn't look like he kicked too bad. Pretty open.
And drifting that one off to the right side just fine. Yeah, Ricky probably 40 feet away.
Ooh.
And off the top. And Clemons off the mark inside circle.
That's disappointing. Really well played hole to that point.
And Ricky, a good comeback putt, but that will be a bogey. And smooth operator, Isaac Robinson, 4 under through 4. This guy just lit this course up last year. Breaking, I haven't done the research here. I'd like for someone to tell us what the second best score to par was for a tournament, because Isaac smashed that record last year. But I'm wondering if the next closest is even within 5 strokes of that.
And I wasn't here last year. I had never played the course
So
until
it's a
this
little
year.
bit of an asterisk.
But well, yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah, but all I heard from anybody is it's so slippery. The conditions are terrible.
Yeah.
And that just blew my mind yet again, one more time, that he's just able to lay down 11 after 11 after 11.
That the crazy thing about it was the conditions. I mean, I can see those scores if the conditions stayed the way they are right here, but I can't see someone shooting that the way he did last year with everyone just slipping on every tee. Hole 5's a scary one, man. This is a par 3, 432 feet, OB left the whole way, and there's a right to left slope. A lot of players playing this one for par. Let's see if Isaac continues the hot streak.
He's definitely not playing it for par. And it's looking
This is
great.
so good.
Needs to slide down the hill just a bit, and it does.
Okay, this guy's on fire.
He makes this hole look really easy, and I say that a lot about him. But the angle control is just supreme. Like it doesn't appear to me that he's at all concerned about accidentally putting a little too much hyzer or anything.
And I would think this would be a good hole for a lefty for the big spike hyzer, but it's such a far carry that if you mess up a little bit, you're out of bounds and you're only 10 feet off the tee.
Yeah, you're re-teeing effectively. It's I think better maybe for a power flex if you're going to go left-handed.
Cole playing this one pretty conservative up high right. If you go too far right, you can find OB. He does find the earth first though, and it'll be a fast approach from there.
Wow.
What is going on? Ricky going for the first forehand of the round off the tee here.
So he is going to play all the way. I can't imagine he's laying up. Wow.
All right.
That's huge.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's still pretty conservative play, though.
I am surprised by it. I mean, for all the times that I've said, why isn't Ricky throwing forehand in this situation? You know,
Totally.
This is the opposite now, because his backhand is phenomenal. I'm a bit surprised not to see him just go at it and try to get a little closer.
And Chris just getting past that one tree there, thankfully. And Ricky is lining this up.
Yeah, risky putt. See what he's got.
Oh, boy. And that's what happens if you run that putt and you don't hit metal.
Yeah, that is.
So this putt, 4-4. No.
Oh, and I don't even think he knows.
Oh, my goodness. Ricky Wysocki has just gone 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the first 5 holes.
That is crazy. From the start he had, now to be 1 over.
Oh my goodness.
And I mean, obviously, hindsight, so easy to question the strategy. But I wonder if we might see him change that up. Like, either take some aggression off of the 50-footer straight at the water, or perhaps go a little more aggressive off the tee.
I'm trying to imagine a situation where I'm a player's caddy and they're looking at this 75-footer elevated basket with water and OB left and a slight headwind, and then going for that putt and being like, yeah, that's a smart play.
Gosh.
Like, I mean, who am I to question Ricky? But in that moment, that just seems unlike him. But meanwhile, Isaac Robinson parking and birdieing the 5th consecutive hole.
think I would have a real hard time telling Rick to lay up if I was caddying for him. I think I'd be pretty like,
excuse me, sir. Actually, go ahead. Just you go ahead.
Do what you do. Hole 6, par 4, 555, going downhill and right. And then you got this scary little green, OB Creek all around it. So big drive, so important to give yourself a chance to make that easy approach. There's also the play of laying up a little short of that creek and attempting the circle 2 putt for birdie.
Ledgestone is a place where eagles just don't exist, whereas Idlewild is the opposite. You can get eagles, and we've already seen one on this card, but there's four holes where you can get eagle.
I like that.
And this is one of them. I do too. I think that it's a great thing to have a hole that can be reached and give you that real true hero factor.
And it gives incentive for a player to do, sit down. It gives incentives for the player to kind of like go to their limit. You know, like where an easy par 4 that's like, if this hole was 70 feet longer, it doesn't really incentivize the huge shot. You know?
I agree.
I like a design that tempts Cole to do this, you know, to try to make him go to this roller to really get up there.
Oh, wow. And that just dances around one of the stray trees or tree limbs down there, splitting that little tiny gap, getting up there in the perfect position, still even short of Isaac's backhand turnover drive.
Look at the colors on Ricky's little lower scorecard there. We have never seen that before.
And I don't know if I've ever seen a stretch where someone went eagle, birdie, par, bogey, and then double bogey or above in 5 consecutive holes before. That's unseen. That little rollback for Chris cost him a much more difficult approach, and he ends up dunking it in the creek.
And where did that cross?
That's
it might
a good
be kind of
question.
interesting because it was pretty wide.
It'd be hard to say that it didn't cross the corner of that creek, but
one would think.
And Ricky will not take a 7 on hole 6, thankfully, and he will more than likely tap in that birdie 3 and get back to even par.
This is exactly where you want to be. Easy jump putt.
With Isaac's long range jump putts, I'm almost a little bit surprised he didn't give that a little bit more to try to do something heroic.
Perfect from Cole as well.
That being said, there were no 2s in round 1 on hole 6.
It's a crazy 2.
It is.
You see a couple each year, would you say?
Yeah, I feel like Yuli normally gets it, actually. Of all people, Yuli has a very aggressive roller line for this hole. And
nice.
I feel like once every year or once every 2 years, I see a 2 next to Yuli's name. But not too many. This one is way less eagled than you're going to see coming up on hole 8 and hole 16. Those are 2 holes that are eagled more than 12 and 14 at Northwoods Black are birdied. And by a long shot, actually. By a long, long shot. Stat Mando gave us some pretty cool stats last week.
Cool stat for Isaac, but for no one else but maybe him and his family and his friends. He's ahead of the pace of 33. He's looking at 54.
The orbit fell, and this thing has been amazing. The plastic, the flight, everything is just amazing. You can really manipulate the angles on this thing. It's a felon, but it does things that felons really aren't supposed to do, and that's why I love it.
Really treacherous number 7, par 4, 484 through this very small gap, and then all of this area is out of bounds. And the drop zone that they give you, not very kind. It's super hard uphill tunnel.
So tough.
I would almost say automatic bogey if you go OB there, hit any part of those trees and fall into that OB area. So these guys trying to hit the gap, number 1, and then move right, number 2, and he's done both. Right there onto that steep slope. Tough footing from there, it always is. Hard to really throw a drive to a place that you wouldn't say that on this hole.
Yeah, you got to get pretty aggressive with like an overstable fairway driver. Cole is going to find that OB, I think.
Maybe.
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
and we'll see exactly how difficult that drop zone is in just a moment. But to get up there to the flat spot, you really got to go high and fast.
This is fast.
And it's just too low.
Yeah.
But it's okay. I mean, a standstill forehand approach, whether it's dry or wet, Yeah, I mean, you're just not going to see anyone get a run up here. It's just very steep.
And I'm going to say, well, I like the
Beautiful.
shape.
Oh,
Yikes.
little short.
Did it roll backwards?
I hope not.
I like the shape of this hole, and I like the gap that you have to hit. In general, I do not like the idea of a demanding gap with OB beneath it. It's enough penalty on its own for Cole to have missed it, in my opinion, though he's just going to make this happen somehow.
Okay.
Right after I said you can't really save it, he's just going to go ahead and do it. Beautiful shot up that tiny tunnel. It's a much bigger hill in person than video would show you.
As every hill that we've ever seen.
All the hills do that. So it's a powerful shot to get up there.
Ricky going standstill, and I don't know if that was... Does he throw harps these days? Tactics, slammers, something. I think it looked pretty blunt out of his hand.
This looks great.
Go,
Wow,
Chris,
that almost looked like it was going for some metal.
I was thinking so for sure. Good looking line. And Isaac, can he keep the streak alive? Of course. I mean, he hasn't even had to putt. He hasn't had to putt.
But if he had to, he would have made it.
Do it, Cole.
There it is.
What a save.
As soon as I try to say, it's hard to save from there. One guy tries it, one guy does it. Amazing.
I wish it was easy for me to tell.
Yeah, how many people pulled that off?
James Conrad did. Luke Humphreys did. Harper. Tony Mo Rice. Cole Redalen. Nicholas Gill.
That's pretty good.
Quite a few.
That's
Gavin
pretty good.
Rathbun, Parker Welk, Andy Martin. A lot of people did, but you don't want to be there.
No.
You don't want to be there. Chris with a nice birdie putt. And I think you really don't want to be there if you're a forehand dominant player.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Ricky in. The line is much better for the backhand, slightly drifting left to right. There are trees on the left side of that fairway that make the forehand incredibly difficult.
Another nice birdie, 7 through 7.
And if he wants to continue that streak, he's going to the right hole because the next one is the easiest hole on the course with eagle opportunity. Could you imagine a nice little 9 under through 8 start? He's the only player to go 6 through 6. Kyle Klein taking a par on 7. Here is that hole. Shortest par 5 you'll ever see on tour, 576 feet. It's for most players, it's a forehand turnover against the wood line there, trying to land somewhere in that sun area, setting up somewhere in the 330 foot to 280 range, depending on how much distance you got off the tee. That kind of winds its way through that gap and then down the hill. 4.27 average though. People are picking this hole apart.
Well, I don't think it's going to be an eagle.
Yeah, eagles out of the question.
From over there, especially without any forehand spin to try to skip and hyzer back.
Ricky, this is looking pretty good. Just missed a tree. And it's going pretty far left. That might be too far left to really even have an angle. Well, maybe.
Is there an OB line up there?
There is, and you have to be pretty far left. I mean, it's almost not in play off the tee. Unless you get a really bad kick.
That looks perfect.
That's
to
ideal.
me.
Absolutely ideal. Past that last tree that you see there, then you're really starting to love your drive.
A lot of height, a lot of width.
I've never seen one this wide work out. Cole, I think that was just a little bit of a errant release.
Is it going to stand still here?
Yeah, not much
and he
there.
kicks straight left. It didn't get a whole lot of distance.
Well. He seems to be human after all. Look at that gap hit.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Fancy little shot. Stand still.
And I don't think he's even doing that to try to get to the pin. That's just the best shot he had to get through the gap, and
yeah, I like it.
that was sweet. Oh my goodness, what is happening right now?
That might be pretty bad.
And not taking advantage of the great drive, Chris Clemons kicking right. Still not necessarily out of birdie range, though.
Wow, just a blunt disc here for Rick.
Connecting on.
Still kind of putting.
Yeah, still putting. You have to get that really far left and have it really hyzer back right at the end to shape the fairway perfectly.
Gosh.
And he just went 25 feet. Wow. Picking the spot accurately. Didn't try to get too greedy and park it. I like that shot from Chris.
That for 5. Have a short putt left for the bogey.
Wow. This is a very difficult right-hand backhand off the tee. I will say that.
Yeah.
And you're going to see a lot of right-hand backhand players end up on that right side where Isaac was, and there's not much over there. Ricky's eagle bid comes up short, but he'll have it tapping inside bullseye for the birdie.
Not as short as I thought, to be honest.
Longest putt of the round, and it's for bogey.
Whoa.
I don't think Isaac has thrown a shot that hasn't hit a tree on this hole yet.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And I really hope he doesn't hit a tree on this next one because he's at the bullseye edge. Wow, a double bogey coming up for Isaac after the 7 through 7 start.
And what a wild day. I mean, Ricky
Yes.
eagles the first and then the
is
birdie and then
going on?
ends up taking a triple. And Isaac
What is
birdies the
going
first
on?
7, gets to the easiest hole on the course, one of the easiest holes on
Yeah,
tour,
really. Yeah.
And though it does have a bit of a forehand bend to it, I will say, like you're saying, but still, a double bogey for Robinson. Crazy.
Only worst score in the field. No one else even took a 7. There were a few 6s, but yeah, I mean, this is one that, this is a Northwood Black par 3. Sorry, I'm just going to keep on relating it because we just played there last week, and that course is so treacherous. This is just a different style of woods, but again, like that statistic said in the beginning, it's a different kind of difficult.
Sure.
I really don't know how to describe it.
Hole 9, par 3, short one here, moving right, backhand and forehand, both great options. Rick gonna go standing still.
And that's a little early. Yeah, connecting on that corner tree. This is looking better. Just needs to get to the ground quick or a little help from the tree. One of the two will do.
You'll take that for sure. This one does slope away, so if you hit right at the base of the basket with speed, you're likely going to be pretty well into circle 2.
Cole going backhand turnover. Got to get down quick. And that's why when you see the backhand turnovers, it's really nice to see someone going with a really flippy disc so it can get to the ground quick. Because if you have it just floating and gliding, you're very likely to go long.
And it's a really slow shot, so you need something that's not going to try to fight out on you. That's the mistake that I've been seeing.
Look at that thing. That's it right there. I mean, even that, you can see how that edge was really trying to get to the ground.
Yeah.
That still pushes long, but circle's edge, putting for birdie. Good a long jump putt approach for Rick. Just a little low. A lot of low ceiling looks down here.
Yeah.
Uphill and low ceiling. It's such a difficult combination.
Yeah. And same with when you're in the short side. It's a low ceiling downhill. Man.
Yeah, who would have thought 5 under on the front 9 for Isaac the way that
After
things
he
were
was
going.
7 through 7
Yeah.
with 2 pretty easy holes to
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Easiest and 4th easiest hole coming.
There have been some curveballs so far today.
And Chris going to take the birdie. And does that tie him with Isaac for 5 under in the front?
Looks that way.
I would have never thought that they were shooting essentially the same front 9 because they weren't.
Look at Jay Koling, though.
What's going on with Jay Koling?
7 under through 9, along with
Oh my goodness.
Nathan Queen and Kyle Klein was, I believe, 8 as our leader so far. So good start for you, my friend.
Nux.
Sure. Certainly.
This is a course where, not to take away from the good rounds that people are shooting, but this is a course where a lot of different types of players can win. Forehand players, but technical players, people who know how to navigate a technical wooded track can do well here. And Isaac's obviously done that, incredibly well last year, and he's done so well, pretty well so far. So, oh my gosh.
He sure has.
Oh my gosh.
He sure has.
Thank you. I was just going to say cut that and re-go, but let's just finish the front 9. Let's go to the back 9.
Thanks everybody for tuning in. It's been fun so far. Just 9 holes in. A lot of wild stuff going on. Let's see what the back 9 can throw at us here at the LWS Open at Idlewild.